In high school, several graduates shoot videos for the graduation album. They ask their classmates and teachers what they like about their school and who they will miss after graduation. In the end, the guys ask their teacher why he likes to teach at their school. The teacher is noticeably shy of the camera, but continues to answer questions. Suddenly, some guy behind him makes strange noises. The teacher turns around and the guy attacks him and bites him. The guys start to panic, and the zombie rushes at them and eats them. The camera falls to the ground and the blood of the murdered schoolchildren splashes on it. We are transported to the gym of the school. There's a group of undergraduates discussing an upcoming badminton game. One of the guys named Eric says that he urgently needs to go to the toilet and asks not to start the game without him. He walks through the empty corridors of the school and gets into the shower locker room, in which there are a couple of students. Eric goes into the toilet and sees a strange guy standing motionless. Having done everything, Eric leaves without paying attention to the strange behavior of the guy. He comes back through the locker room and in the background you can see how the guy who recently took a shower is now sitting motionless on the floor. The student returns to the gym and sees several zombies devouring his classmates. He quickly closes the doors so that the zombies don't break through and is terrified of what to do next. He moves a few meters away from the door and grabs the bat. The door opens and one zombie breaks through. The guy fights him off and punches the zombie's head with a bat. In another place, a guy named Mike comes out of school, gets on a skate and goes home with a breeze. Suddenly he is knocked down by some guy. Mike fights him off and asks why the hell he hit him. Of course, the zombie does not answer him, and Mike, suspecting something is wrong, steps back, and then begins to run away with all his might. More and more zombies are gathering on the street. We are transported to the school theater club, where a girl named Katie is rehearsing a scene. The director says that she needs to get together and repeat this episode again. Katie begins her speech, but at some point she notices that her partner is behaving very strangely. Suddenly he attacks her, but she manages to react and push him away. He falls, and you can see how his eye fell out. She thinks it's because of her and asks the guy for forgiveness. But she notices how the other students, making strange noises, are approaching her. Katie reacts quickly to the situation, avoids the theater. She runs out of school barefoot and puts on her shoes on the go. Katie manages to escape. In another school office, student Phil is sleeping in class. When he wakes up, he turns around and sees that all his classmates are behaving strangely, and blood is flowing from their eyes. He tries to get up quietly and leave, but accidentally drops the pen. The zombies are about to attack him, but suddenly a teacher comes into the classroom and asks a student named Matt. Zombies switch to him and attack. This helps Phil to escape and jump out the window and escape. Next, we find ourselves in the office of the headmaster, who chastises the student Amy for bad behavior. The principal asks her to think about her behavior and draw conclusions, otherwise he will have to expel her from school. Amy sits and listens to him indifferently. Suddenly the director becomes strange and rushes at her. Amy gets up and runs out of the office without hesitation. In the hallway, she runs into Eric, who escaped from the zombies from the gym. They both don't understand what's going on at school, but they make the right decision that it's time to get out of school. While running away, they meet Phil, Mike, who is behaving inappropriately and Eric has to hit him to bring him to his senses. Katie shows up and says they won't believe what just happened at the theater. She tells the story of how her friends went crazy and wanted to pounce on her. The guys say that a similar situation happened to them. They unanimously decide that they need to get out of school immediately. Katie offers to get to her house, which is across the river, and claims that it will be safe there. Suddenly, their zombie classmate appears, who immediately rushes after them, but a second later notices a lonely girl, whom he immediately kills. School children run around the corner and stumble upon the body of their teacher and two dead classmates. These are the same guys who made a film about the school in the beginning. Eric checks with the bat to make sure they're dead. Eric picks up the camera and they run away. After a couple of minutes, we already see the footage from the video. In the video, the guys are ambushed by several dozen zombies who surrounded them from all sides. School children think that this is the end, and begin to admit to each other that these were the best school years in their lives and that they love each other very much. When it already seems that they are finished, some schoolboy from the roof starts shooting zombies with a rifle. Two more schoolchildren open the doors and call the guys inside for shelter. They run inside and block the doors. For a second it seems that everything went well and the students are safe, but the zombies broke in through another entrance. Walkers begin to devour schoolchildren and the real horror begins. As a result, all the zombies break into the school and attack the students. The camera turns off and it becomes clear that the zombies most likely ate all the schoolchildren. Write in the comments what your actions would be if you suddenly caught the beginning of the zombie apocalypse while at school. A girl named Charlie is sitting on a chair and thoughtfully looking out the window. Abruptly, another girl named Ada appears and flaunts in front of her in a new dress. Charlie says she looks great, and Ada says it's the right outfit for going to a jazz club. Someone in the background calls Charlie, and the girl says sadly, the fun didn't last long. Charlie gets up and goes somewhere. It becomes clear that groups of people are in a clothing store, which is surrounded by a crowd of zombies. They look out the window and calmly watch the zombies who want to get inside them. Next, he shows us an old lady who seems to have gone mad and constantly repeats the phrase "something stinks." Elsewhere in the store, two guys named Cooper and Riley are discussing that they have very little food left. Cooper is really freaking out about it and Riley tries to calm him down, saying they'll figure something out. Charlie comes up to them and they tell them that they have almost run out of supplies. Charlie says that first of all they need to calm down, as well as reduce the portions of food and try to drink less water. Cooper is unhappy with this plan, and Charlie tells him that you can live without water for a while. Cooper also suggests reducing portions only for girls, and increasing portions for guys, since they need strength to protect themselves from zombies. Riley intervenes in their argument and says that everyone will get the same portion of food, but they also need to come up with a plan to escape from the store, since they won't last long anyway. Everyone understands that he is right, and they calm down for a while. Riley sends Charlie to ask Mile if he's making progress with his escape plan from the store. At this time, Mila is standing at the window and watching the behavior of zombies who crowded around the store. He points at the zombie and asks Charlie what she thinks this walker was when he was alive. Charlie doesn't know what to answer, and Milo says that he thinks that the zombie probably worked as a dentist during his lifetime, since zombies have just perfect teeth. Charlie translates the topic and asks him how things are going with the survival plan. Milo replies that he searched the entire building and found nothing useful. He also says that he has examined all possible escape routes, but they are all surrounded by zombies. Milo says that no matter how quietly they behave, zombies still gather around the store and sooner or later they will break in. While everyone else is thinking about an escape plan, Cooper is sitting at the table eating chips. He licks his fingers and it becomes clear from his look that something is wrong with him. Elsewhere in the store, Riley is drawing some kind of superhero. Charlie sits down next to him, and he shows her the drawing, saying that his name is the lifeguard. Riley reveals to Charlie that he used to be a firefighter and his son really liked drawings with superheroes. Riley suddenly becomes sad, as he remembers that at the beginning of the zombie apocalypse, he was at work and did not have time to get home to save his son. And now Riley doesn't know if he's okay. Charlie says he understands his pain and tries to calm him down. Milo approaches them and asks if they have seen Ada. The guys say they haven't seen her, and the old strange woman sits and keeps repeating that something stinks. Milo goes to look for Ada and goes to the toilet. There he sees traces of blood on the floor. He follows the tracks and finds Ada lying on the floor with her arm torn off. At the store, Charlie continues to tell Riley about his family and that she doesn't know if they're okay either. Milo rushes to help Ada, who is trying to say something, but cannot make out her words. At this moment, Cooper appears from behind with his arm torn off. He attacks Mile and pushes him against the wall. It becomes clear that Cooper just went crazy. At this moment in the store, the old lady finally goes crazy, gets up and starts moving towards the door. In the toilet, Cooper hits Mile and punches his stomach with his hand. Mila screams in pain, and Riley heard his screams. They want to run to help, but they notice how the old lady opens the door of the store and lets the zombies in. Charlie sends Cooper to check what the screams were. Riley throws her the bat and leaves. A crowd of zombies has broken into the store, and Charlie is preparing to fight them off. Riley gets to the bathroom and sees a crazy Cooper with his arm torn off. Riley checks if Smiley is alright, and Cooper just watches them motionlessly. Charlie successfully kills a couple of zombies, but eventually one of the walkers knocks her to the floor. She pulls out a knife and kills the zombies, but realizes that this is the end, since she will not be able to cope with the rest of the zombies. In the bathroom, Cooper and Riley start fighting. Mila gets up and tries to run away, but opens the door and sees a crowd of zombies. Riley cuts Cooper down, beating him hard.
Open the door!
They open the door and throw Cooper into a crowd of zombies. While the zombies are tearing it apart, the guys run away from the toilet. They come back, see a crowd of zombies and realize that it will not be possible to break into the street. Then they decide to hide in the next room. Milo collapses in pain, and Riley tries to block the doors. It becomes clear that it will not be possible to hold out for a long time and the guys are just preparing for death. As a result, the zombies eat them. Suddenly, we are shown a live Charlie who gets up from the floor. She's covered in zombie blood. Because of this, the zombies do not touch her and pass by.
It stinks.
Somewhere in the Russian outback, an old rusty Lada car with a fuel hose sticking out of the tank is driving along the road. There is a girl with a guy in the car. Music is playing in the salon and the guy enthusiastically sings along. This is very annoying for a girl who is driving a car. Then she picks up and turns off the tape recorder. But this does not stop the guy, and he continues to sing without music. The girl fastens her seatbelt and abruptly presses the brake pedal.
Holy shit, my nose, it hurts.
The car stops and the guy hits his nose on the dashboard. The guy wipes his nose from the blood, and the girl gets out of the car and says that she is tired and asks the guy to get behind the wheel. While they are changing places, a stranger sneaks up to the car and secretly climbs into the trunk of the car. The couple continues their journey through the countryside, but in silence, without music. The girl studies the road map, and the gloomy guy is interested in where they are. The girl replies that they are in some kind of hole. The guy thinks she's joking and wants to take a map from her to determine his location. But the girl shows that they are literally in a hole. This moment smiles at the guy. They start talking and get distracted from the road, which is why they do not notice the zombie, beat him up. This situation scares the girl very much. Suddenly they hear messages on the radio. The report says that on the site of the Krasnaya Polyana Children's Camp there is a shelter in which decent people are recruited. The shelter has all the amenities, including hot showers, food and equipped rooms. The signal is interrupted, and the girl says that she would give anything to be in a cold shower. The guy asks her to be patient and starts driving further down the road. They drive up to a sign that shows the direction to the shelter. The guy starts mocking the stuck zombie, asking if he can tell them how to get to the camp. Then he pulls out a gun and shoots the zombie in the head. They continue on their way, but after a while they punch the wheel of the car. The guy gets out of the car to inspect the breakdown. He sees a broken bottle on the ground and realizes that it is because of her. The girl says there is a spare tire in the trunk. The guy approaches the trunk, but does not have time to open it, as a stranger jumps out. He grabs the spare tire and starts running away, but the guy grabs his leg and he falls. The guy stands up and threatens the stranger with a gun. The stranger begs not to kill him. The girl is interested in how he ended up in their car. The stranger explains that he fled from Moscow, as the whole city is full of zombies there. A stranger, whose name turns out to be Ivan, asks to go with them to the shelter. At this moment, a crowd of zombies is approaching from behind. The guy starts shooting at them, and Ivan throws a spare tire at the zombies. They take things out of the car and run away. Zombies chase after them, and the group turns into the forest. Zombies do not lag behind and closely pursue the group. Ivan stumbles and falls. He is being attacked by a zombie. The girl says they have to help him and then the guy shoots the zombie in the head. The couple runs away, and another zombie approaches Ivan, does not notice him and leaves. The couple stumbles upon an old house and goes inside. They block the front door and hear someone coming from behind. They turn around and see a priest pointing a shotgun at them. He orders the guy to drop the gun. He calls them sinners and tells them to get down on their knees. The priest drinks vodka from the throat. The girl jokes, asking if the water in the bottle is holy. The priest gets nervous and twitches the bolt of the shotgun. The couple explains that they were just looking for shelter and didn't want to disturb him. The priest tells them that all his ministers were torn apart by zombies and he was the only one left alive. Ivan starts knocking on the door and asks to be let in. The priest thinks they lied to him and brought someone else with them. The girl says they have to let him in, otherwise he will gather all the zombies around. The priest lets him in. Ivan says there's a huge crowd of zombies outside. He turns around and sees the priest pointing a gun at him. Ivan starts knocking on the door and asks to go outside. Zombies begin to gather around the house. Walkers begin to break into the house through doors and windows. The guy tells the priest to shoot the zombies, but the priest admits that he has no bullets. The group begins to fight off the zombies, and the priest invites them to pray. They take the painting and close the window with it, but the zombies break through and grab the priest by the cross. At this moment Ivan is lying on the floor unconscious. He wakes up and sees a gun lying at his head. He throws it, and the other guy kills a couple of zombies. Ivan sees that the zombies are breaking through the window, and fights them off with his foot. Ivan notices gold jewelry on the zombie girl and starts tearing them off. The group closes the window with different boxes. One of the drawers opens and there is a chainsaw. Ivan starts the chainsaw and saves the priest. After a while, we see that the guys manage to fight off the zombies. The guy tells the girl that he is amazed by her courage and is interested in her name. The girl replies that it is strange to get acquainted 2 days after the meeting, but replies that her name is Alice. The guy says his name is Andre. Alice notices the wound on Ivan's head and says that it needs to be treated. Andre sits down next to the priest, and Alice takes a first aid kit and treats Ivan's wound. The priest offers Andre a drink, but he replies that he cannot, so he becomes violent. The priest drinks as he is upset about the loss of the cross. Alice bandages Ivan's head and says that it will heal before the wedding. Ivan jokes, suggesting not to wait and get married now, especially since they have a priest. Andre says they need to leave, as they won't last long here. They call the priest with them and say that they are heading to a shelter called a forest fairy tale. The priest says he knows where this place is. He reports that the camp is about 70 kilometers away, and promises to conduct them. Ivan says that he worked in a car service before the apocalypse and will be able to easily replace the wheel. The group decides to wait out the night and hit the road in the morning. In the next scene, we are shown the guy's car, in which messages are transmitted on the radio that the shelter they were going to go to was attacked by zombies. Screams are heard on the radio and it becomes clear that everyone died in the shelter, but our guys don't know about it yet.
Night. A man is running away from someone in the alleys of the city. Running around the corner, he meets a man making strange noises. Not knowing what to do, he looks around and notices a phone booth, in which he decides to hide. Once inside, he tries to close the door, but it's jammed. At the very last moment, he manages to close it without letting the zombies get to him. The zombie takes a step back, and the man asks what the strange man needs from him. He takes money out of his pocket and throws it to the zombies. I think that's his goal. But the zombie does not react and continues to look at the man further. Then the man decides that the best way out is to call the police. He turns to pick up the phone and sees the girl leaning against the phone booth covered in blood and making strange noises. In shock, he picks up the phone and calls the police. The answering machine tells him that due to the large influx of calls, the waiting time for a connection with a policeman is about 45 minutes. He hangs up and realizes that the situation is very bad for him. After looking at the zombie girl, he picks up the phone again and calls his friend who is at home watching TV. A friend picks up the phone. The man in the phone booth, whose name turns out to be Patrick, tells a friend that he is in a dangerous situation. Patrick says that he is in a phone booth and that he is surrounded by some strange people who want to attack him. He thinks they've used something and he's high. His friend asks what kind of eyes the people around him have. Patrick replies that they are completely white. Patrick asks a friend to come get him and pick him up from a phone booth. At this moment, a zombie girl imperceptibly approaches from behind. While Patrick explains to him the address where the phone booth is located, the zombie girl attacks the man. Patrick hears strange noises, and the call ends. More and more zombies are starting to approach the phone booth. The man picks up the phone again, throws a few coins and dials someone's number. He calls some Sophia, but a certain Mark picks up the phone. He calmly watches as some guy eats someone. The zombie turns around, and the man tells Patrick that he will leave for a minute, and hangs up the phone. Patrick takes off his jacket and calls the police station again, where the answering machine says that the waiting time for the connection with the operator is 2 hours. Patrick does not lose hope and dials someone's number again. The phone is picked up by a woman who turns out to be his mother. She starts telling him off that he hasn't called her for a long time, and then suddenly decided to dial in the middle of the night. She calms down and asks when he will come to visit her. Patrick replies that he has big problems. The mother says that some kind of horror is happening in the city. People are running down the street and screaming. She thinks it's probably drug addicts. At this moment, zombies are walking slowly in the background. She says that one of the people looked into her window and he had very creepy eyes. The woman says she just closed the blinds and now she's fine. Patrick asks his mother if she has closed the door. She replies that no, because her friend Simon has to come. At this point, Patrick breaks down and shouts at the zombies to get away from him. And the zombies take and move away from the phone booth, but after a couple of seconds they attack again. The woman begins to get angry, thinking that Patrick shouted at her. She wonders if he drank alcohol today, but Patrick can no longer answer, because the zombies still got there and attacked him. The next morning, a police car pulls up. An officer gets out of it and goes to a phone booth. He turns around and bumps into Patrick's zombie. The policeman walks away and closes himself in a phone booth. He sees that he has lost his gun. He picks up a telephone receiver, on which a part of a human hand is hanging. He calls the police, but the answering machine says that for technical reasons no one can answer him. A policeman gets into the same situation. He is surrounded by zombies, and he finds himself in a desperate situation, and no one can help him. The events take place in Russia. Singer Nikolai Baskov performs on the concert stage. At this time, in the studio, the director notices a strange man on stage and shouts to his subordinates to be removed from the stage. But they don't have time, and the man comes up and attacks the artist. We are transported to the next day. In a small village near Moscow, a girl named Lyra wakes up from the fact that she will have a fly crawling over her face. She gets up, makes coffee and drinks it on the porch of her house. A black column of smoke can be seen in the distance. A neighbor looks out from the neighboring plot, who asks if they have a light in the house. Lyra replies that she doesn't. A neighbor asks when they plan to return to Moscow. The girl replies that today, because tomorrow the children have to go to school. Suddenly, the neighbor falls screaming. Lyra goes to the fence, gets up and sees her neighbor's husband eating her face. She freezes in place because of what she saw. Then the zombie gets up and grabs her by the hair. Lyra somehow miraculously fights him off. The girl runs into the house and checks on her children, closing the doors to their rooms. She's trying to reach someone, but she's not getting anywhere. Lyra goes to the stairs and runs into a zombie neighbor who reaches out to bite her. The girl manages to react and pushes him, and he falls down the stairs, piercing himself on the handrail. Lyra takes her children, covers their eyes with her hand and goes down the stairs, bypassing the zombies, but forgets to pick up the dog. They get in the car and drive away. Zombies are crowding at the neighboring plot. After driving away, the children shout that they forgot the dog, and the girl decides to return. She runs into the house, but sees a lying zombie eating a dog. The girl runs back into the car, after which they are surrounded by zombies. She presses the gas pedal, successfully runs over the zombies and leaves the settlement. They drive along the highway, bumping into overturned cars and dead bodies on the side of the road. Lyra is trying to catch the radio, but not a single station is working. Soon they come across up to 2 passers-by. Lyra stops, but without having time to listen, a couple is hit by a passing truck, smearing them on the highway. After a while, they stumble upon a military outpost blocking the road. The military explains to her that Moscow is closed for quarantine and they cannot pass. They notice a zombie, which is immediately killed by a cannon. When the military turns his back, Lyra presses the gas pedal and tries to break through, but the military shoots at them and thereby the car skids and they fall off the bridge. They manage to swim ashore. The girl in despair does not know how to get to Moscow now. Suddenly her children notice a boat passing by. They are sailing on a boat past an embankment filled with zombies. When they get to Moscow, they see that the city is in chaos and fires. Next, we see how, in an incomprehensible way, the girl finds herself at home in her bathroom. She cooks food while the kids watch cartoons. She tells the children that it's time for them to go to bed, and she goes to the window. The camera moves away, and we see how a separate area is fenced off from the rest of Moscow. Fires are burning in the city and the horror caused by the zombie epidemic reigns.